Hey everyone, you're listening to the Alex Files. I'm Alex.
And I'm also Alex.
And we can't believe it, but we are here, episode 6, Chex Mix. Double digits. Double hands. Double digits. Well, never a mathlete. I was not. What?
Double hands.
Double hands. Boom. 6 pickup sticks.
Yeah, that's all I got. 6.
Chex Mix. Yeah, wow. We are so excited. Today we are kind of moving, well, I would say pop culture, nostalgia. We're taking a nostalgia journey, and we're going to take a deep dive into sort of, the internet of our youth, the early 2000s, the late 90s, we're talking instant messenger, we're talking Zangle, AIM, LiveJournal, Photo Bucket, MySpace. There's a lot to unpack, but we thought it would be fun to kind of time travel and, I don't know, remember the good old days.
Any millennials in the chat who
grew up
with the internet? There's like this concept of like growing up with the internet, which I think is kind of like Gen Z. Like, they grew up iPads in hand, right? They had the internet from day one, whereas our generation kind of grew as the internet grew. We were kind of the early adopters of, AIM and this and that, and then, what's social media and what's, YouTube. And we kind of grew up as the internet grew up, which I think is kind of a really cool spot to be in. I'm actually really grateful to be like right in this segment. I remember life before the internet.
Same. It's wild. I think we're the last generation that, I know millennial spans lots of time periods and people, but I think that we remember, life before link in bio.
Before the importance of a profile or an away message or the appearance of your like feed.
Yeah.
Like out playing in the streets, just getting phone calls here and there, like making mixtapes on our boom boxes. Had one family computer, maybe that was cool. Personal computers came into the realm.
Yeah, how were you like first introduced to the internet? I know memories can be fuzzy, but yeah, what was that like for you?
Yeah,
growing up?
When? So, kind of thinking about this, the first time I remember using the internet was more in like 5th grade, moving into middle school. I do remember the family computer though in elementary school. It was on our 3rd floor, which was like a finished kind of family room. We all shared it, and I just remember occasionally, instead of using Britannica books, there was this like encyclopedia program on the computer I would use to research, print the 2-page report with the 3 holes and rip it on the paper. But then the internet came in. 96, 97, 98. I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and the computer that we shared this time was in the basement, and that kind of sucked. It was like smelly and mildewy, and really only me and my brother used it down there. And that's when we started getting AOL CDs, and internet access through the phone was being promoted to people. So,
oh my God.
I mean, who can forget the AOL discs?
Yeah, we had the same. We had the same thing. Like, no, we had the same thing where it was like, let's see, I'm trying to think. So probably like 3rd grade, we definitely had computer lab, but really that was like playing Oregon Trail.
Oh my God, Oregon Trail.
Yeah, which
I remember that in exactly 3rd grade. And I didn't understand how to do it.
Me either. And I think it's so funny that it's like, I mean, yeah, yes, you're sort of like loosely learning about history, but like that was part of the curriculum.
That was like a game, I believe, literally on a floppy disk that we would put into the computer in the classroom and kind of huddle around and be like, do we have enough supplies in our wheelbarrow wagon?
Do we have too much in the wagon? Is it too heavy? And yeah, just like learning about being on the range, whatever that looked like. Learning how to type with Mavis Beacon. Do you remember her?
You know, I don't. I saw that in your notes, and I don't. I don't remember ever in school learning how to type. Which
I don't know if it was a school. Yeah, it may have been like my mom just being like, "You guys need to learn how to type."
Was it a software?
Yeah, it was like kind of like a typing game.
Oh, well, your mom was on top of it. She knew, like, hey, this is going to be a skill. Like, forget cursive.
Forget cursive.
Nobody
I know.
writes in cursive except in their journal and in like a birthday card. But like, typing is very practical.
It's so practical. But yeah, it was the same thing where like no one had like a computer in their room. Like it was a shared family computer.
Oh yeah. And then in the school setting, I didn't see it until middle school. And then there was a computer lab. Like all the computers in one room. And you go in there and you do stuff on the computers. Even in high school, there was this giant computer lab that we would go to and do like, I don't remember, but random ass shit on the computer.
Like researching? I don't know.
Didn't help or prepare me to do like Excel or type fast or any of the things that would be applicable today. But
yeah, not at all.
Times in the computer lab with kids, just like pretending to learn, clicking around, and then
it was a lot of clicking. You go.
Yeah, just being at home, it was the more intimate experience of the internet. You know, the AIM, the chat. First it was AOL. I remember the literal day that I discovered away messages. I remember this girl in school, I think it was Molly, she had an away. I was like, what is this? And now it's like, oh, people can know that I'm at the mall all day and I'll be on AIM and I can get messages and like, oh, it's a profile. Oh, I need to put in, you know, moody, angsty.
Yeah. And the background colors.
Oh, I need to choose my font to be, you know, minimal but trendy and like bold and italic and maybe like sky blue with the dates of my, you know, relationship at the bottom spaced out appropriately.
And the emoticons, like no emoji, pre-emoji.
There was no emojis. We did the, you know, the 2 dots and the parentheses.
Yeah.
Like
I think that like the away message was really like it felt like the first status update that
you're right.
Right? Kind of.
Like why do we need to know what you're doing? Like home, chillin', ... Like,
BRB.
Okay. BRB, and then, but you've been away for 4 hours. You didn't.
Right. And that noise of the creaking door opening to like, and then like when a new friend came in, and then the like, dun it. And then yeah, when the door slams, it's like, oh my God, they left, or like, oh no. Yeah, what was your screen name?
When I first got the computer and AOL, I was 3rd or 4th grade, and I had this concept of an alter ego musician thing called messing with your mind. So my mom helped me turn that into a screen name of Minda Messa.
Ooh.
Quickly pivoted. That lasted a couple of years, but then I feel like my true like adolescent teen handle was inspired by the Homestar Runner website.
Great.
Shout out to Homestar.
Yes.
Like the original SpongeBob. And so my name was Fluffy Puff 25 in reference to a video about Fluffy Puff marshmallows.
and what was
that took me up until college, and I had to finally get, you know, my name, email, and like chill it down a little bit. I was Fluffy Puff 25. My best friend at the time was Hula Chicka 23, and we had that very 10-15 moment of sitting at the computer together, like, what's it gonna be? Oh, it's already taken. Okay, out of 23. Well, I like 25. Da 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 da. And like, I want to be Hawaiian, so Hula Chicka. I was like, Fluffy Puff. So cute.
So okay, Hula Chick.
Hula Chica.
Hula Chica.
That was my friend, my best friend in middle school. And then I was Fluffy Puff.
From Homestar Runner. And well, remind me of wasn't there a guy, who was the villain on Homestar?
Strong Bad.
Strong Bad. I was like, it included the word bad.
Strong Bad.
Strong Bad. Oh, that site. I remember that. And like, there was another website around that time called Muffin Films. I don't know if, okay, we'll leave that somewhere.
Is that connected to the YouTube video early one of muffins?
Maybe. Yeah, and it's like, I'm a bran muffin. Nobody likes the bran muffin.
Oh, yeah, invisible muffin.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. These are some deep cuts, but like solid creativity happening online. Yeah, mine was not, my screen name was Nalu13. Nalu, which was my nickname that my like junior high 6th grade best friend Maddie, she called me Nalu, cute. Which was fun. And I was 13. I mean, yeah, so
it's
I don't know.
Like Disney animal princess. Nalu, I love that.
Very animal princess. It was so fun. Nalu 13. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I had to add a 0 because it was NAL like 0 0 13.
I like that.
Because Nalu was already taken. But yeah, did you ever adventure into any of the like chat rooms? Uh-oh.
I know if you're listening on like a podcast platform, you can't see the face I just made. But yes, I have. I remember being like 12 or 13 on the family computer, Saturday, no one's home, and like I'm in some random chat room, and I made friends with somebody, like something about a cow in their handle, Canadian cow or whatever. I thought it was a guy. I thought he was like 10 years older than me, and we like occasionally chatted in like, you know, the private part of the chat room. Sending the messages, and it was like, yeah, like come visit me in Canada. It's like, yeah. And I like never did. There was no like follow-up, but like, yeah, like sketch stuff. Probably wasn't talking to some guy in Canada who was like 20, like probably not. And you know, thankfully there was no webcam or pictures.
Oh God.
Or anything, but it's just like, I used to go into chat rooms and it was funny, but it just, you know, I went through the ASL, like age, sex, location. If you don't know what that means, like how old are you? Where are you? Are you gender? And like that shit was wild. And that is the birth of catfishing, because
oh my God.
Who knows? Oh yeah, I'm 35 and in New York City. Like what? I didn't really do that, but I'm sure other people did it to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't I don't think I don't have any like memorable chat room stories, but I remember sort of going in there and just being really confused because I was like, I don't understand any of these. Like, what do these letters mean?
It's going so fast.
Yeah, and like all the like age, sex, location, and like, you know, all the language that's used within chats to identify yourself and like what you're into, depending on the chat. But I feel like it always ends up there.
We didn't have Google back then. Like,
no,
I wouldn't like go and check and ask like, what does this mean to Google?
Or ask Jeeves.
I was asking Jeeves.com until that shit got shut down. I loved Ask Jeeves. I typed in my whole question, 3 sentences long. What do you got, Jeeves? And it's like,
it's like, well, ask your parents.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I didn't really dabble in the chat rooms. That's
probably good. That's probably safe. For someone your age at that age.
Well, yeah, as a 13-year-old, I did like, I don't know, I just like talk with friends and stuff. And then, but I remember after 8th grade graduation, I think I had my crush's screen name, CW Surfer, Corey Wilson, shout out. I think he's married now, but anyways, he was like, I was so in love with him, like 6th grade to 8th grade. And he was just like your blonde, like sort of like playing baseball surfer guy from San Diego. And one time he graded my paper in 8th grade and I was so excited. Like, cause we were doing like peer review. I was like,
peer review. Love that. Lucky. Love that.
It was so great. But so I logged into AIM and I knew that like, okay, now I can tell him how I feel about him over this chat.
I have the screen between us.
Yeah, I have a screen. I feel safe. Um, and you know, I was like, we're never gonna see each other again because I probably won't go to the same high school, and if I do, like whatever. And I was like, I need to tell you something, and it was really dramatic. And he's like, cool. And I was like, I like you, like you. And then he's like, cool. He just said, or no, he said coo, like COO, like cool. And I was like, I know you don't feel the same way, but I just needed to tell you. And like I said way more about
That is so
me.
bold and
It
amazing.
was so bold. And then like he probably signed off. But I remember taking like, I don't know, copying and pasting that into like text edit or like a Word doc or something. And I printed it out at the time. And
Oh my
like
God.
I still have it.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I printed out a conversation with my like 8th grade boyfriend that I had on AIM. I don't remember, but I remember like in college, like finding these printouts of these AIM conversations. I'm like, what the hell? And like, I didn't even really like him, but he was my boyfriend. And we like went to play basketball at the police station because his dad worked there and listened to Eminem. And then like occasionally said hi in the hallway. But mostly the relationship was just like, after school, like what's up on AIM, and he like I think broke up with me on AIM. I was like, and I was like,
Do you remember his name?
I think his name was Steven. I think I don't remember
Steven.
the last name. That's how memorable that experience was because it was like I don't even. I think I liked the idea of having someone interested in me, but like we didn't really ever talk or hang out or connect except for like basketball at the police station with his friend Jason listening to the Eminem Show album. And do I like basketball? Okay, like no.
Yeah.
Do
you like the police station? No.
No, I don't. But Stephen PH, you know, not the V.
So like Laguna Beach.
Yeah, except I was in Portland, Maine, so it was very
well.
There was no surfer boys.
No, probably more. Yeah, what was the vibe back then like with?
Well, there's kind
breaths.
of this. I love Maine. I'm gonna be a Maina for life, right? Born and raised, but like, I think just like the overall arching like vibe is like LL Bean boots most of the year during the winter, which is most of the year, and like flannel or like woodsy kind of stuff. You know, the Hick Olympics are held in Maine every year, so I'm just gonna leave that out there.
Okay.
But you know, that's just such a negative stereotype. But it's just like, you know, there's more woods and people are more outdoorsy. So like this, and it's not warm. So yeah, there's coast, but there's not like that surfer beach culture. It's just kind of more of like a woodsy, like think Colorado.
Okay.
Kind of woodsy granola kind of thing. So
no like flip-flops and like long jeans, like baggy jeans.
Oh, baggy jeans. We had Jankos. We had, you know, and then also the girls' jeans that like would scuff so much on the ground that it rips and it would leave like that hem, and then you'd cut it, and then like the jean would be all raggedy. The wide leg boot, we had that for sure. Oh
my God.
Yeah.
What a treat. AIM, I think, was really like the genesis of it all. Like
that's where it all started. That started the concept of social media and DMs and updates and status and profiles.
Yeah.
You know, there was no feed. That started really with I think, can we say like Zanga and LiveJournal are kind of like
totally
early social media that kind of transformed into Tumblr. And
yeah, it's like a blog, but
yeah, it was like a blog.
But so did you ever have, I mean, it's hard to even remember like what that looked like, or to even at this point find your old ones. But did you ever have a Zanga or a LiveJournal?
I did. I was a LiveJournal girl. I was a big LiveJournal girl. I loved it. I could post photos and poems and angsty stuff. And a lot of the kids I grew up with in high school were very alt and like the scene kids. And so having like the LiveJournal was like the prerequisite to the minimal, cool, trendy MySpace page. And so you have like your photo and kind of the layout of the LiveJournal. And I named mine Crunch and Clean in college. I changed the name. I don't know the original name, but it was after just what I saw written on cat treats. I thought that was cool. So my LiveJournal was Crunch and Clean, and that's the last time I remember accessing it in like college. I think I used that name for my Tumblr though, that I transitioned to. And I would write, emotional stuff and poems, and I loved looking at other people's posts, but there was definitely this culture amongst the people I knew and had their LiveJournal access to that like subtweets, like writing about a situation with someone at school or the friend or the boyfriend, and like throwing shade without writing their name, but it was like, obviously this entry is about so and so, and I could read the subtext of it, and I remember reading those. I don't know if I wrote a lot of those, but I definitely remember reading those and be like, oh, she's totally pissed about that thing.
Oh my God, the original subtweet.
What was your experience like on? Did you have a Zynga or a LiveJournal?
I am sad that I can't remember exactly what I know I had either or both. But I feel like my fondest memories, or the memories that really stick, are with like Tumblr, which came after.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I actually thought of this recently watching the Hotel Cecil series on Netflix, because, she had Elisa Lam, shout out, had her Tumblr, right? It wasn't a LiveJournal, or was it a LiveJournal? It was Tumblr. Okay. And just
LiveJournal.
hard to say. I actually visited LiveJournal and Zynga earlier today to see if, the sites still exist. They've been kind of updated, but I had no idea like what my email or login at all was. And that was a little funny, but I'm sure it was like angsty stuff. I think in the Tumblr sphere, it was very like, sharing like artsy photos.
Yeah, so it got more visual.
Totally.
Which I loved.
Yeah, it felt more like, I don't know, like Instagram-y or Pinteresty or something.
Exactly, very aesthetic, and you could build this board or feed of like vibes and things that you like to look at, and then repost it and be like, yeah, this is me.
Like total vibes. So I really wish, because I think, it was like, if you were a part of LiveJournal or Zynga, you were writing for yourself, but for people that were like following you. So that, I can totally see how there was like an element of like sub writing or sub posting or whatever. But I think for me, it was really like, I don't know. I don't really remember that much. It became more like social media times for me with MySpace. And
LiveJournal was like a diary. It felt a little more private. Like less people had access to it maybe, and like you could be open and stuff. MySpace felt more out there, kind of like along the lines of Facebook and Twitter, of just like,
this is for everyone.
But like, you're jumping into a way bigger pool, I think.
Completely. It was like, I think mine was set to private, maybe. I actually don't know. I want to say it was, but who knows?
I wasn't aware of all those settings back then.
No, and wow, what a time MySpace. I think I got one in high school at some point. But it was such a time. I think it was for all of us, like learning how to code a bit.
Yes. It was insane. Like the group of friends I was in, it's a genre of fashion and style and lifestyle called scene.
Oh yeah.
And the importance of that aesthetic on MySpace was to make your profile very different. Like there was a standard setup, info and friends and bio and a song and this and that. And it was like very important and cool to learn how to code HTML to manually adjust and remove and make your profile look more minimal and with like a different color scheme that's like not available through the default, and like the song auto plays, and then you hit this part and you go to your page and it's just like, wow, she's so cool. Like, how did she do that? It's like, I remember learning code to do that and being so proud, like updating the song that when you click the page, it like automatically plays. And I was like, this is my vibe. And then, and the MySpace pictures.
Oh my God.
That's when selfies started for me.
Yes, mirror selfies.
The mirror selfie with a digital camera.
Yes.
What the hell? Or this angle, like up.
Yeah, up. Like that was such a thing.
Very unflattering up high angle, looking up.
Or the Mac photo booth photos, you know, how you could open the photo booth app.
I do know through friends, but I was not lucky enough to have a Mac growing up.
It was
cool colored backs.
Yeah, and like
so
being
cool.
like, oh, I'm gonna have a photo shoot here on my computer, and just
in
like
black and white and sepia.
Like, oh, look at these cool filters. But and then the digital camera in the mirror, the ability to like customize fonts and add glittery font if you want to get real wild.
Yeah, that was all in the coding, right? I remember, and like, how did we even do that? Like, I don't remember Googling things, but it's just like all these little things you pick up and you find out.
Yeah.
And then you
just like somehow know. I don't know. And then, I mean, I think the crux of it is that there was the whole top 8.
Yo. I'm feeling a little prompted, aka triggered by that. Because like it's like designed to set people up for feeling left out.
Totally. Oh yeah. It's like, who's in your circle? Talk about bubbles.
And there's like the choice of, do you leave Tom in your top 8 as a funny like default, or do you remove him? And then who's in the top 8? And I remember thinking heavily about who's in the top 8, and then reflecting heavily on whose top 8 I'm not in. And then they'd be in my top 8, and I'm like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, right. It's not equal. It was such a political thing. Like,
it was. It was a very political choice in the group of friends and culture at school.
And I think at that age, you know, I mean, junior high is hard. So is high school. It's all hard. But being a girl and like such a mean girl's time, like it can be so easy to veer into like, oh my God, did you see that? Like she moved me on the top 8. And like, luckily, like I feel grateful that never happened to me. I think I kept the same kind of people, or I switched them around just for fun. And it was like, no one was genuinely hurt, or I wasn't, but like, I know that could have prompted a lot of things for people.
Yeah. I remember changing mine. I remember reflecting on it and changing it and putting a lot of thought into it, of just and the thought of just like inclusivity and who do I want. But then I just remember being bummed out looking at other people's and be like, oh, like I was not the popular girl in school. I was not. And I kind of tagged along and kind of made my friendships here and there, but I wasn't like really needed in any major group. So, you know, the whole group and everyone's top 8 and this and that. And I'm just like, oh man. And it kind of like, cue Facebook. I think it kind of like exaggerates that feeling and awareness of like, you're not in this, or, you know, when you can suddenly be tagged on photos and Facebook and it's like, oh, I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. I'm not mentioned. It's like, creates this whole online social dynamic, you know, hence the name social media, but it's like this whole dynamic of communication and behavior that lives outside of the halls and hanging out with your friends and your family.
And inside jokes and feeling left out. And I mean, I remember doing a lot of those for like the MySpace blog entries, which you could do, doing all those like sort of 20 questions sort of things where you could like fill out, you know, those things would get passed around.
Yeah. Talk about your favorite this, your that, and this. That. Yeah. Those are fun.
Those are so fun. And like, you know, an opportunity to be like fun and less angsty than you might be in like a LiveJournal. Yeah, get to know me. Did you ever meet like anyone through MySpace that like you didn't know in person, or like anything like that? Did you ever have any interesting interactions in the way you might say like in an AIM chat room?
I remember, this is so silly. There was this really, really scene kid. He didn't go to my school. His name was Jeremy, and he worked at Panera Bread. So I eventually started calling him Jeremy Bread, but he had thickest fucking side bangs. He was so seen. He was wearing girl jeans before anybody, and he went to Westbrook, and I maybe had seen him at shows, but not really. But I remember kind of knowing about him on MySpace first, and then going to the Panera where he worked and seeing his face with like the snake bites and the hair, and I was like, oh, this is Jeremy. Hey. And then we were friends in real life, occasionally, talked at shows and stuff, but just, starting to see the friend circle expand of kids outside of the school that you're starting to see on the thread or interact with your friends that maybe you don't know. Thankfully, I didn't have any like stranger, like adult crazy stranger thing happen. I think having to add friends and stuff. I don't know. Did we have to add friends to MySpace? I forget.
I think
Did it
that
unlock?
I think that it was like, this person wants to be your friend. Add them as a friend.
Oh yeah, the friend requests.
Yeah, there were friend requests. So it wasn't like, they had to add you. And you had to be like, okay.
I unlock a little bit, and I wouldn't add, and I still don't really like adding people I don't really know.
Totally.
But wow, I just thought of something like the friend request. It's like this growing awareness and sort of maybe desire to get those likes and notifications and friend requests. I remember jokes about people being sad if they didn't have friend requests or like likes on their stuff in MySpace, and like I think that just snowballed and became this
my God,
this giant beast that we still struggle with today of like that external validation that internet and social media culture now gives people. They build their lives and careers off of it now. It's a lot.
It's wild. One more thing on MySpace is that I have to come clean. In junior or senior of high school, my friend Cassidy and I were, throughout all of high school, we were just obsessed with like Bright Eyes and The Faint and like any band from the Omaha music scene, which was different from the scene, Very much. And we would go to their shows, like all that, leave school early to do so with parental approval, which I don't know why. My parents were fine with that, but good YOLO. For them. YOLO. So I had a big crush on the synth player of The Faint named Jacob, who sadly passed away last year. I know. It's very sad.
2020?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Anyways, so R.I.P. Jacob. But looking back now, so this story is that we decided, wouldn't it be fun to make a fake MySpace for Jacob from The Faint, the synth player? Because this was before there were any like fake celebrity profiles. And honestly,
did you kind of catfish as him?
Yeah, so he was a celebrity in our hearts, but no, like most people did not know who he was, or like it wasn't like we made a fake MySpace for like Britney Spears, continually saying free Britney, but we made one for Jacob, and we made the like bio or the little like line, whatever you want to say. It was like, I like playing the synth and women, and we thought it was so funny. Because I don't know, and we had photos of him, but we didn't add really any other copy to it, I don't think. And then we got all these friend requests from people, and they were writing on our wall as Jacob. They were like, "Oh my God, like I love your music, thank you so much." And there was this person who commented, "Hey Jacob, like, do you think that I should cut my hair?" And we were like, "Yeah, go for it." Like. And then I know. And so then we got a message from someone who was like, "Oh my God, this is Jacob's like fiance or girlfriend. And I just like, this is not a real page for him. And like, you're saying like defamatory things," or I don't know if she said that. And honestly, we weren't. We were just like, we love playing the synth and women, but we didn't say it. We weren't like, "Hey, like I'm Jacob and I endorse like,"
Just a couple of comment replies here and there.
Yeah. And then she's like, if you don't shut this down, like there will be legal action. And Cassidy was like, whatever. But I was like, oh my God, like we have to shut this down. I was very scared about legal action being taken on a fake MySpace. So we shut it down. It was only up for a few days, but it was very fun. And, you know, a sense of, and I mean, I guess it was bold. And it wasn't a like dating catfish situation or trying to get money. It was just like, we really love this band and we really have a crush on this guy. So we're going to make something.
It's just kind of an example of just like how malleable the internet is with what you can do, who you can personify, and just
totally,
you know, it's wild. But you look at the internet, you see these things and you like, you take it for real life, but you got to step back and evaluate it. You know, there's so many spam accounts, catfish, bots, fake things, and it's just like, even influencers, like, what's real anymore? I can't tell.
It's so hard to know. It was a very like twisted, dumb way of
Beyonce?
Like, I don't know. I no. Again, I was just like, oh my God, she said some big legal words. Like, we have to listen to her.
Why would somebody? Because, like, my immediate guess is, like, now I don't trust anything, and now maybe she's cosplaying as
right? I mean,
and another fan who's, like, very upset and is like...
She's like, oh, they thought of it first.
Yeah. Don't do that.
It's like, don't do that. I thought our tone in terms of, like, the brand tone of Jacob was super sweet and, like, kind of funny and...
two teen girls who love this musician.
And personable. We weren't saying anything, like, that was ensuing, like, danger or violence or anything controversial. We're just like, sure, yeah, if you want to cut your hair, go for it.
It fit community guidelines.
They fit the community guidelines that we created for our fake Jacob MySpace page.
Wow.
So anyways, that's me just saying that here.
That's
for the readers. It was real bold. It was real bold. It was fun.
I'm proud of you. I don't know how to articulate. I don't know. It's just like, why not?
Like, I would never do that now. And also
obviously.
there's so many, I mean, at this point, that was like before there were any fake profiles for anyone. Like, this was, or that I was aware of.
Check.
No, there was no verification. Yeah.
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 So in the reads with it, you know, we don't know what's going on, who's who.
What?
Like,
Yeah.
You can't verify shit in 2001. You know.
There was no verification.
You know, random videos. I feel like there's some really precious YouTube or like random video websites. Like we talked about Homestar Runner. There was this one that my whole class was obsessed with called the Hamster Dance. And also Mr. Nice, who was like, I don't have any arms or legs or hands, but I like to dance. Would you like to see me dance? And he click dance. And then he's like, and it's like this bean with no limbs just kind of jiggling on screen. And I remember for like a good year or so, the class, I was like maybe like freshman in high school, and just everybody could not stop talking about it. Or like the muffin and the shoes video on YouTube. Oh my God, shiz.
Oh yeah. Shoes. Oh my God, shoes.
Before YouTube became just like 15 million videos per minute being uploaded, there was some real gems and
were some very like interesting like websites, art, animation, and talent that was really coming out of YouTube. What do you, I mean, fast forward, you and I both spend a lot of time, not only as humans, like in our personal life, but also for our jobs. We spend a lot of time on social, and
we're social media managers. We literally have a career in this
in MySpace
world. In the goddamn Instagram.
What do you like looking back to those sweet early days of AIM and setting your away message, and then whatever came after that we've kind of talked about? Like, is there anything that you miss about that? What do you think is kind of, I mean, there's so much, but like different now that isn't a thing that used to happen then?
Whew. I think the internet was a lot more raw and uncurated and
Mm-hmm.
unsaturated when we were first dipping our toes in. And now there's this entire culture of influencers and oversaturation of artists and musicians and videographers and actors and people trying to make it through the internet as a medium. I think there's a larger reliance on social media feedback for serotonin and dopamine and validation of people's emotions. So I miss kind of the days when the internet was still growing and not so automatic for everybody, where it's just such a giant cesspool of just every single comment of what you're doing during the day on Facebook, every single political argument on Twitter, 15 million YouTube and Instagram influencers trying to sell you products. Everybody's trying to make it. And it's like, instead of like using the internet to connect and learn and share, it's become kind of, in my mind, a competition for likes and fame and notoriety sometimes. So that kind of bums me out.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't grow up during that time that the kids are growing up in now, where it's just everybody has an Instagram until as soon as you get a smartphone, you can be on Instagram, and that kind of online bully culture. I do miss LiveJournal kind of, and I kind of miss MySpace. I liked the song and the thing, but also
Yeah.
because Facebook seems so overwhelming. I feel like for some reason in my mind, my face MySpace felt a tiny bit more contained and less overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think? What are the things that you miss?
Yeah.
Or that are
Well,
different?
and quickly just say that, like, I think MySpace feels or felt more contained because it really, I think, was just other people's like profiles. Like, there was no news feed, there was no marketplace, there was no groups, like
Pages, selling, ads.
it's just like too
Oh,
much.
You're right.
And I think the fact that it was like just profiles, there's something that was so nice about that, and it felt more like insular, like just more contained.
And no moms and dads and aunts and uncles, and I love everybody.
No.
But like, it was just with your
It was
friends.
just for us. And like the bands that you liked and stuff or whatever. But I don't know. I miss it just seemed simpler back then. And I think while we were aware of, like, you know, being, I guess, as mindful as we could, because we didn't know a lot at the time of like what to put or not put on those channels like MySpace and Tumblr, and even, I don't know, like LiveJournal and stuff.
No one told us not to do this.
Yeah, there was never, I don't ever remember a conversation.
No safety FYIs.
No, I mean, yeah, we had DARE in like third grade.
That's about drugs. That has nothing to do.
That has nothing to do with
being catfished on the internet and meeting up with a stranger.
And like online bullying. There was no, I don't remember any online bullying, but I feel like I am really grateful that I did grow up at the time I did, because I was able to still be like really creative and be silly and like try things out. And I just feel like now as a teen, be authentic. Now as a teen, that it seems like, one, it's so hard to be like a tween or a teen in general in any time period. But now it's this like, I don't know, it just seems really wild to like have a Finsta and an Insta, and I don't know. That
like TikTok people getting so famous for being kind of a snob and doing dances, and now they have a drink at Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm just like, what the actual?
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here?
There was so much less pressure back then, and I think that, like, I don't ever remember worrying like, oh, like this thing that I said on my MySpace blog is going to blow up and become viral and cost me some part of my life. Like, now with any person, whether you're like a regular person or a public figure, you have to be so intentional about what you put out there, which I totally get because of the world we live in. But like back then, that just wasn't a thing. Like,
you have to be so censored, and so it it's not about your expression anymore, because it's like you have to be mindful of all these other audiences that are swirling around and going to react to it, from friends and
Yeah.
family to strangers.
It's like now it's like every person now, obviously, as we know, is like their own brand. And in a way,
I mean, I am too. Shit.
yeah, we all are like, but back then, I mean, I don't think we were thinking that way. There was no like,
Absolutely not.
I mean,
Or worrying if this curated
yeah,
picture is like, what's a ring light? We didn't know what that shit was.
there were no ring lights. Like, we may have been intentional about like, okay, like, what song do I want to add to my profile? But there was no like, oh, like, well,
photo shoots of my lunch for the feed,
like 50 photos and you pick one, and then you, I don't know, end up deleting it because it didn't get enough likes.
And I think that also, when you look at like viral content, yes, there's that fear of like putting something out there that could go terribly bad. But also, I think a lot of people put stuff out there to try to go viral. And it's just from every app, it feels overwhelming with the amount of content every day that's like, suddenly we see this random person's dance every day, and suddenly this is trending, and it's like and then it's gone in 15 minutes, and then there's a new meme, and
right,
it moves fast. People don't stick.
And I still don't understand to this day how a meme or a TikTok dance blow up. Like, I just don't know.
To get you a goddamn drink at Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I know like that's the goal for many people, but I don't understand how they catch fire and become viral. Like, I just don't get it. Maybe there's people out there that are like sleuthing these sites to try to find the next big thing, but like talent scouts, I don't know. But anyways, it's a lot now, and in a way it used to be, I don't know, just way simpler and more like DIY, more like crafty, and just I don't know, I felt like we were like not so overly self-conscious in the way that we are now, maybe.
Or critiqued and worried about Photoshop. I mean, you look
at and so judgy.
And they're like, Photoshopping this and that, and kind of creating this even more unrealistic beauty standard and idea of an aesthetic of life. And it's like, you have to remember, when you look at social media and what people choose to put out there, I have to constantly remind myself is that this is a very intentional, curated version and not necessarily a real reflection. And
totally.
I've been caught up in that stress of worrying about something that I shared. Is this too silly? Are people going to make fun of me? Is this not pretty enough, cute enough, this, that? And I've really been working on practicing of like, I'm posting because this makes me happy. This is my photo journal, whatever. And not worrying about it being so perfectly curated, because dude, I want to live in the moment. Like, I can't be live streaming everything.
No, and that can impact other parts of your life and relationships if you do end up going down that path. I mean, I think I think also just being aware of who you follow, especially on Instagram. And if sometimes I think that barrage of like seeing these influencers or beautiful people all the time, it can make you just feel really bad about yourself, and you might not even realize that, like, why you feel so down. But do the social like cleanse and like cut those people out,
unfollow or mute. And it's like, you have the right to control and configure your feed and maybe your algorithm. And like recently, something that's really helped me on Instagram is that I followed a hashtag about something I'm interested, such as interior design. So now my regular feed has a lot more random posts about interesting design in rooms and buildings and stuff. And it's like a very nice break. And I also do that cleanse every once in a while. I go through and I'm like, who are these people?
Right?
Do I enjoy their content? No? Okay, well then.
Yeah.
I don't need to look at it. It's okay.
Totally. And I think, And I think just the way that like we had no concept of the way that an algorithm worked back then or anything like that.
Oh my gosh. I wonder when that became a thing, because that was so not a thing when we were, and then the whole shopping online and stuff and the birth of Amazon. I remember not really using that and then using it and being like, whoa, this is like, they have everything. It's cheaper. It's faster. And trusting online shopping and I know some people who in older generations are still uncomfortable with putting a credit card in online, and I mean, it's just a crazy world.
It's wild, and a lot has changed in the past 2 decades,
It's
since
insane.
we started.
Since AOL discs, I
Yeah.
remember we got so many of those that
Oh, in the mail.
my mom at one point, because she's a very DIY artist, she took all these discs, and on the stairway down to the basement where the computer was and the laundry and all that stuff, she like glued, not, she glued so the side that was all shiny and rainbow would show.
Mm-hmm.
She just glued a bunch of them on the wall on the stairwell down. It was like mostly AOL CDs.
Love. That's amazing.
And I remember being confused. I thought I told her, like, why don't we put them up or put them here? And then I saw her glue them, and I was like, wait, what? She's like, we don't need all of these. I was like, okay.
Like, repurpose them for art.
Yeah. Man, I don't even have a CD drive anymore. I don't have a CD drive in my car, in my computer. I can't watch. I mean, DVDs and CDs are, like, not built in anymore. I remember the birth of that. It's just wild how fast everything is gone.
My car and computer are old, so I have both. But the whole DVD thing,
cherish it.
I know, I will cherish it. The whole disc is just gone now. And I don't know. Do you have any choice, AIM, MySpace, LiveJournal memories you would like to leave the readers?
I think I'm going to throw in Tumblr. I want to just kind of roll around in the nostalgia. Before Instagram, I went to a semester in Paris in 2010, and Instagram came out in 2011. And I heard about this thing on Tumblr online called Project 365. And basically, you take a photo and post a photo every day for 365 days. And being in Paris and traveling, that was the perfect thing. And I remember working really hard with my digital camera, uploading it, posting it to Tumblr, and trying to create basically what was Instagram, where you could post a photo a day. And then when that came out, just being like, oh my gosh. So I think my final takeaway is to remember that social media and your channels and your internet experience, it can be very much about you, what's good and healthy for you, what you want to share and express, and to not get so caught up in worrying about what other people think. Be safe, be kind. And at the same time, if you think that little dance that you did is funny and makes you happy, post it. If you want to take a picture of the meal that you cooked, but people make fun of food pictures, whatever, post it, and at the same time, be mindful. We don't need to share every single thing and make ourselves vulnerable, educate yourself, but I want to be a little bit more DIY and authentic with it. And I actually really try to take that approach on my TikTok, where I'm just like, I'll post these videos with like no makeup, and I'm just like free balling it. And I love that.
Yeah. It's freeing.
It's fun. I do enjoy the internet so much. I think we're so grateful to have this tool, and also the ability to express ourselves in different ways with different people.
Totally. I echo that completely, just feeling like, I mean, obviously there's so much pressure, especially because there's a whole like industry now built around I don't know, like buying things off of Instagram. Like, you can be like, oh my God, that person's wearing this, and then click and then buy from there. But also just the whole influencer culture. Like, I get that that's a thing, and I think it can be easy to just, I don't know, get sucked into someone's like feed who is an influencer, and not realize that like 3 hours have passed, and you're like, oh my God, and it seeps into your brain. And I think, I don't know, I think being authentic and remembering who you are is so key, but also like anything else in life, like everything in moderation, which I know is easier said than done. And I think, still people say, well, that's like on social media, like that's not real, this isn't real life, like that's just on the internet.
But we don't remember that. We don't internalize that.
And at this point, like, look at the last 4 years of who we had running the country. Like, everything is real life, like even if it's not even a real truth, like what happens online impacts the world that we live in. It's
perceived in a way that affects us, whether it's true or not. It has an effect.
Totally. So I think just being mindful of that, and understanding that like I mean, especially now in this pandemic, like if you need to step away from it, that's totally fine too.
Actually
And
recommended that
yeah, oh yeah, would
sometimes, just
need
get
a
off the
break.
grid.
Go off the grid and, at least tell someone where you're going so you're not pulling a Gone Girl,
Or buddy system.
or a buddy system. Have something going on like that. But I don't know. I really I know I didn't really have a choice in it, but I'm grateful for the time I was born in. And I'm so glad that, I had all these like memories and stories of AIM and these early days to share. But, there was also a lot going on in my life offline too. And it was a balance, but it was a fun, silly time.
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool and unique that we had those experiences that the current generation, or even maybe the end of our generation, doesn't understand because they didn't grow up as that internet and personal computer took off. And it's just really cool to be on that ride, to learn with it, to watch how it changed, and to understand it from the beginning. I think that's definitely a benefit.
We're day one BBs.
We really are day one BBs. That should be our new screen name, Day One BBs.
Okay, we'll have to see if it's taken. But I'm happy to sign us up, and if we need to add in some letters for numbers, vice versa.
Yeah.
This was so fun. I loved traveling back in time with you.
I need to go watch some Pen 15 now to run.
I know.
It was so nice, and I looking back and trying to remember things like LiveJournal and stuff, it's like, whoa, this actually has been a while, and I don't remember every single detail. I kind of wish I had more of a clear memory, but piecing it together today was really fun.
It was so fun. And thank you to all our listeners of all ages, whether you remember this or you were too young, or maybe you were doing other things with your life because it was later down the line, or maybe you were one of those weird people in the chat rooms. We don't know.
Yeah.
But God bless. And thank you for listening. Do you? We can't wait for our next installment of the Alex Files, where we will continue to see you in the cabinets.
Yeah. We still have a lot of files to go.
We have so many files. I know. We just did a big move, so we have a lot of files.
We'll see you in the cabinets then.
Bye.